All right, we're going on to Raiders-Broncos as the next game here. Denver, Bo Nix, 3-0 in their last 3 games. People forget.
Solid job.
Not here on this show, but people forget.
No.
Just want to let you know.
It ain't just about those first 2 picks.
Oh, it's not?
I don't think so.
No, I'm a draft guy. Of course it's not. Denver wins this game 34-18. Let's look at the top 5 graded players for the Denver Broncos. Cornerback Patrick Surtain II, elevating himself to one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, which he's been doing for a while now. 92.0 grade in this one. 2 interceptions as well. Defensive tackle Malcolm Roach was next on the list with an 80.8. Cornerback Riley Moss. Not just about Patrick Surtain. We got Riley Moss as well, 80.1. Offensive tackle Garrett Bowles with a 79.5, and then running back Javonte Williams with a 78.6. Bo Nix in this one, 66.5 overall grade. Flipping to the other side of the Las Vegas Raiders, tight end Brock Bowers, 82.7. Robert Spillane, their linebacker, an 81.5. Colton Miller, their offensive tackle, with an 80.8. Charles Snowden, edge rusher, he got a 72.2. And then Jacoby Myers with a 67.5. Gardner Minshew, although we could have thrown, I think Aiden O'Connell's grade was technically better, and they both had 23 dropbacks. But Gardner Minshew had a 50.3 overall grade, and I think Aiden O'Connell had a 63.5. But yeah, what's the stat that told the story here?
A lot more handoffs from Minshew, so I went with the snap count. Anyway, so the Raiders in this game kind of had the opposite of the Jets' problem. Is the first quarter looked really nice. They were up 10-0. First quarter, here's the split for you on your stat. First quarter, 8.9 yards per play. Solid stuff.
Pretty good.
Solid stuff. Next 3 quarters, 3.7.
Not good.
Everything came apart for them when Minshew threw that pick 6 to Surtain. 100-yard pick 6, had a guy in the flat rolling to his left, overshot him. Surtain caught it, housed it, everything at that. The Raiders were in control. They were 4 yards or whatever it was from 17-0, and this game being over in their favor. And he overthrew that ball, and Surtain housed it, and that was just it. They shut down mentally from therein. The Broncos believed, obviously, and they believed they were in the game at 10-7. They went from despair to hope in one play, and the Raiders, their next 7 offensive drives after that play, they had 22 yards total.
Jeez.
Yeah. They had 1 garbage time touchdown with O'Connell when the game was over, but that one play changed this entire game. They had 22 yards in the next 7 drives. They just shut down mentally after that. Even though they still had a lead after that happened. They had a lead, they had the ball, but it all just shut down. That one interception tanked this entire game. It's crazy. And again, they were 4 yards from being up 17-0. Everything shut down. Offense shut down. Broncos got roughly in the wheelhouse of what they want to do with their defense and controlling the ball. It just charged up Denver so much, and it deflated the Raiders so much that it just that's it. And Patrick Surtain, has he not been the best corner in football this year so far? I don't think there's anybody. I know Zion McCollum, I think, might still be the highest graded.
I don't know after this week, because Surtain had an elite grade, and McCollum's was okay. It wasn't terrible.
Just the eye test tells me, especially the way against other teams, that they've shadowed him on Garrett Wilson. They've shadowed him on Mike Evans. What they're asking Surtain to do is on that level, and he's doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. And then you make a game-changing play like this and have another interception later just for the stats, basically, because I think the game was over by that point. He's having a monster year. I'll tell you, I know we've talked about Fred Warner and maybe like Aiden Hutchinson on the Defensive Player of the Year list. I think Surtain's on that list. He's been that good.
Surtain has been incredible. My most impressive is Riley Moss, though, because we already thought that Surtain was good.
Pretty darn good duo they have.
Now it's like, all right, we can't throw to Patrick Surtain anymore. Let me throw to the other side. Oops. Too bad. 80.1 coverage grade, as we saw on the screen there. 6 targets, 3 receptions allowed, just 34 yards, and an interception in this one.
They make those DBs different in Iowa.
Did you see Patrick Surtain tweet a photoshopped picture of the White Men Can't Jump poster, but it's his face and Riley Moss's face?
That's spectacular. I didn't see that, but now I wish I had. That's awesome.
It's amazing. My stat that told the story, actually the Raiders' defense in this one, I thought this was going to be a much better defense going into the season. And when you look at overall season numbers here for the Raiders defense, 26.2 points per game allowed. That's 28th in the NFL. Just a 53.8 defensive grade in this game. Denver was 22nd in the NFL in points per game before this week. And they scored 34. They hang 34 on them. I had way more faith in this Raiders defense going into this year. And they have been disappointing to me. So to me, the stat that told the story isn't the fact that the quarterback struggled, which they did. I mean, that was another most disappointing, was that the quarterbacks struggled to this point. But we already kind of figured that the Raiders were going to be shaky at quarterback. What I didn't think that they were going to be shaky or even bad at was on the defensive side of the football. And right now, they're just not a good football team on either side. And I know they just hired Antonio Pierce as their head coach, but man, with how things are unraveling, certainly with Davante Adams, how things don't look good at either of the quarterback spots, and his hands were kind of tied, I'm sure, in that situation because they didn't have the chance to draft one. But his side of the ball, that defensive side of the football, like that's your bread and butter, and they are not playing to the level that I feel like the Raiders could have played at, or that we predicted they could have played at before the season. So I think that's pretty tough there. But you're most impressive and most disappointing. What do you got?
I'm going to stick with the Raiders real quick on the disappointing side, because we actually have the same thing here, and it's the quarterbacks. And look, this is what I was worried about, and I compared this situation to Atlanta's last year with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke, and you look at that preseason and you go, that's not it. And I know Gardner Minshew won him the Ravens game, pretty much just carrying him that day with Davante Adams. Brock Bowers right now is their best offensive player by far. It's not even close. You look at the grading.
Jacoby Myers is good.
He's good, yeah. But Brock Bowers.
Well, I mean, Colton Miller is probably their best.
Even then, his grades it's like a 71 right now. Brock Bowers is like by far their highest graded player too.
All right, I'm going to give Colton Miller his respect.
No,
I don't mean to take that
away
from Brock
No, and
Bowers,
I love Colton Miller. You know I love Colton Miller. Actually,
right.
he was the guy I had at the MVP as his team. But either way, they're doing nothing right now. I mean, it reminds me of this. Here's the problem, too. Think about last year's Falcons situation. And the Raiders aren't last in passing grade, but it wouldn't shock me if they get in that neighborhood by the end of the year. The Falcons were last in passing grade last year, but at least they had the run game, right? They could run the ball. They have Bijan. They have the O-line. This team is 30th in the NFL in rushing yards. They're 31st in rushing grade, and they're last in run blocking. So now there's nothing working on offense because they have, other than last week when they got it going a little bit against Cleveland, they haven't run the ball at all either. So you have a team that can't throw the ball. You have a team that can't run the ball. And you just mentioned a team, especially, I told you, the Malcolm Kuntz injury, that season-ending injury, that's awful.
Hurts.
Because his emergence last year was so big for them. They're 2-3, and it does not even feel like they're 2-3. I mean, because of the Ravens win and the goodwill you got from that, there's not a whole lot going right now. And look, their next starting quarterback is currently playing college football. I don't know which one it is, if it's Shedeur Sanders or Carson Beck or Jalen Milroe, whoever it is. I know that there was the video of Shedeur talking to Mark Davis was it at a WNBA game the other day? Where
something,
was it?
Yeah.
Maybe at the Aces game, something like that. There was a video of him already talking to Mark Davis. They need a franchise guy.
Yep.
And I know we've said that not for a long time. They had Derek Carr for a long time, but they need a franchise guy.
Yep.
It's just, that's what's missing. Most impressive. Let me go to the other side. I know I gushed about Surtain earlier, and I almost picked him for this, but I had him last week too, so it's kind of a little unfair. Just give me Sean Payton. Look, there's a lot of teams right now. I think like Dallas. I think like even a Buffalo. There's the 49ers. There's a lot of teams looking for their identity. Denver has their identity. They're going to play great defense. They're going to grind it out on offense, and he's going to tell Bo Nix not to screw it up. Okay, and I'll start with Nix. 3 turnover-worthy plays in week 1. First time since he was at Auburn that he did that. Last 4 games, he's only got 2. Only 2 turnover-worthy plays in the last 4 games. It's not. I'm telling you, it's not flashy.
People go after Nix, I think, just for the memes.
Probably.
That's Nix. I think it's just the easy thing to do is make jokes about Bo Nix. But there were even, I feel like people, over the last couple of weeks who I was seeing on the timeline, try to dunk on Bo Nix. And it's like, is he perfect? No, but he's doing good things.
If you wanted a guy, what was talked about the entire pre-draft process? Oh, Bo Nix and Sean Payton, that's what you want. Those 2 guys together, right? Well, here's why. And they may have been yelling at each other on the sideline. I really don't care because that's how
I don't either.
Because that's how Sean Payton coaches.
Yeah,
and that means he, even making $20 million a year, he still wants to win. Okay? And he believes this team, he can take this team to the playoffs. Bo Nix is not screwing it up. Complimentary football, right? This defense, they're number 5 in defensive grade. They're number 5 in takeaways. They're number 2 in scoring defense. They're number 3 in total defense. This defense is real. We've seen it for 5 weeks now. This is a really good defense with a really good secondary. And the pass rush, even young guys like Jonah Ellis up front, really good in the pass rush. This team is playing the exact way they want to. He knows they have a good defense. They try to run the ball enough with guys like Javonte Williams and McLaughlin and that. And he tells Bo Nix, don't screw it up. even when he's yelling at him. That's probably always saying, hey, man, don't screw it up. Because our defense can win us ball games, and we just need to score enough points on offense. And I think Nick's, as conservative as he is as a passer, it helps him in this scenario because he can just go out there and not feel like he has to force it and carry a team and do all that. I think Sean Payton's always emphasized, even when he had Drew Brees, I can't have my quarterback trying to carry us every single week. Because the teams that were like that with the Saints in like the early teens, when they were going 7, they were leading the league in total offense and they were going 7-9. Sean Payton knows that's not the way to win. So I think I'm wicked impressed with Sean Payton just knowing what he wants in this football team, and they're winning because they're playing to their identity that he's built already.